You are listening to me talking to myself. Welcome to the podcast, where I share some useful tools, insights, and questions to make us feel more peaceful, more present, more connected, and empowered to create. Everything starts with a thought. If we do not think on purpose, we will not create anything purposeful. Everything that has ever been created by humans in the world has been created with a thought first. The first step is to become aware of what we are thinking. Awareness is always the first step to change. The next step is to create thoughts on purpose. We create thoughts, and only then we create things. So once again, how do we create things and results in our life? First, we have a thought. Second, we believe that thought in the way that it creates the right feeling. Third, we feel the feeling. Fourth, that feeling drives our action. So we take action from that feeling. And fifth, actions create results. Once again, a thought creates a feeling. Feelings drive our action. Actions create results. So the first step is always awareness. We must become aware of what we think and believe. But just like a fish in water, it is difficult to recognize the water. It takes the skill of becoming the watcher. This is where meditation gives us the opportunity to practice being the observer of that space between the ears. Taking a look from the outside, observing our mind, and creating that space between us and between our thoughts. We detach ourselves from those thoughts because our thoughts are just suggestions. They are separate from us. We think that we observe the world factually, but in reality, we are constantly making judgments and assumptions about the world based on what we have learned and believed in the past. What happens when we have thought a thought so many times we do not even recognize that it's a thought anymore? We think it's just real. We think it's just true. We do not realize that it's a belief system, and belief systems are 100% optional. When we think it's a beautiful day, we think we are viewing the world objectively, and everybody thinks so. Some of our beliefs are so deeply ingrained, we do not even realize they are beliefs. We do not realize they are just thoughts, and we think that they are the truth. These are the thoughts we do not even question. As Orson Scott Card said, we question all of our beliefs except for the ones that we really believe in and those we never think to question. And what we are not changing, we are choosing. A human being has approximately 60,000 thoughts per day, and 90% of those thoughts are repetitive. Which means if we are not changing them on purpose, we are recreating our past. That's why it's important to observe our thoughts if we want to create something new and to change results in our life. Once again, thoughts create our results. An important question is, what are your thoughts and beliefs about yourself? That just who I am. I'm not flexible, I'm not good at yoga, I just can't sit still. I'm just not confident. I just do not have that self-discipline. I need food for comfort. I do not like exercising. I have always had a hard time with waking up early. Those thoughts are not right or wrong, but they are not very useful. They indicate observations that we think are true, but they are actually optional thoughts that we can change if we become aware of them and make a decision that we want to believe something different. Do you believe that your abilities are fixed throughout the rest of your life, or do you believe that they can grow and change? Those beliefs shape our motivation. If it's fixed, you do not have any motivation to work on improving them. And if it's not, you are actually motivated. It creates a different feeling, which would create a different result. If I would believe my abilities are fixed for the rest of my life, I would not be inspired to take any action. I would choose the discomfort of stagnation. And if I would believe that I can grow even if it's not true. I would take a different action and try anything to actually improve. And I will grow in any case. So if I have the choice to believe whatever I want, it does not matter if it's true. If this belief is serving me, I will keep believing it. All the things we believe about ourselves are based on our past and do not have to determine what we can create in the future. So let's talk about our negative beliefs. We also have a lot of negative and limiting beliefs about ourselves and the world. So how do we become aware of the beliefs that are negative? Nobody would probably say about themselves, I am a negative person. This is why paying attention to our feelings is so important. Negative feelings are the indicators that we are thinking a negative thought. Again, a thought creates a feeling. So from negative thoughts, we create negative feelings. We think that the feeling is coming from the outside world, from all those circumstances outside of us. But our feelings are always coming from our thinking. So we need to pay attention to thoughts like, that won't work, it's too hard, that's impossible. I have never done it before, so it might not work. I'm too busy, I don't have enough time. It's their fault. I should have. I should be. Those thoughts will create disempowerment and block any new beliefs that require self-empowerment. Because we do not take responsibility for our feelings, but give the power away to somebody or something outside of us. And we are always the ones creating our feelings with our thoughts, not somebody or something outside of us. So sometimes we make a judgment or criticism, and we think we are just making an observation. We think that this thing is true, or the thing is negative and we are just stating the obvious. But we are not. Nothing is negative until we decide it is. And even with things we want to see as negative, we can still state and focus on their opposite without changing our stance. For example, instead of talking about how much we don't like something, we can talk about how much we like its opposite. We can focus on not liking the rain, or we can focus on liking the smell of the rain, or the fresh air after the rain. We can focus on what we don't want, or what we do want. Resisting something is not the same as being for something. One includes negativity, and one includes positivity. Anytime we complain, it creates negativity, which creates more of the problem and less of the solution. And this actually does not reflect on the object itself we are complaining about, but it reflects on us as someone who complains. It's important to remember that the brain is always scanning for evidence of what it believes. If it believes that the world is bad, it will see the bad. If it believes the world is good, it will find the good. Energy flows where focus goes. This is also true in people, days, jobs, and lives. So first, you must be aware of what you are scanning for. Positivity, opportunities, solutions, or negativity and problems. And the final way to really discover any hidden negativity is to look at the results in our life. All negative results come from negative thinking. What negative results do I create in my life, and what is my belief that creates it? For example, if you struggle with time management, what do you think about time? There is never enough time, I have so much to do, I am so busy. If you struggle with following through on your commitments, what do you think about your abilities and about yourself? I'm just not someone who is good with self-discipline. I do not matter much. I'll start tomorrow. Who cares? So what makes us believe our current thoughts? It's practice and repetition. Believing is deciding and accepting that something is true. It doesn't make it true. It just makes us believe it is true. There is a difference. If you want to disbelieve something, we first have to realize that we have accepted something as true and decide to change our mind about it. We have learned to believe something by practice and repetition. We will have to unaccept it as true and believe something different on purpose. Truth is not something that exists outside of us. It is a decision. We need to separate truth from facts. Facts are facts. We don't say facts are the truth. Facts are facts whether we believe them or not. Truth is subjective. So a fact is, this is water. Truth, this water is blue, clean, dirty, limitless, peaceful, still, mirrored, wavy, dangerous, deep, low, cold, warm, icy, fresh, hydrating, life-giving. These things can be true, but they are not facts. Truths are choices. What we believe and focus our mind on is a choice. Where a focus goes, energy flows. We can choose water is life-giving or water is dangerous. Both can be true. But we get to decide which one we want to believe and focus on. Which truth do we want to believe on purpose and focus on? Most of us are in a default believing and thinking mode. We are just replaying beliefs that have been programmed and practiced. A belief is a thought we keep on thinking. It's something we have thought so often we do not even realize that we are thinking it. It's a really deep neural pathway in our brain. How we see ourselves is what we believe about ourselves. How we see the world is what we believe about the world, and all those beliefs are optional. Most of our beliefs are such a part of us we do not even realize that they are all just thoughts that we choose to believe. A belief is a thought that we have without questioning it. Our beliefs will determine our results, so we need to decide what they will be. Think about your beliefs by what they will make you feel, do, and create in your life. Think about what are your beliefs about yourself and your value. What are your beliefs about what you think you're supposed to say and do? What are your beliefs about the world? What are your beliefs about relationships, your job? What do you believe about healthy food? It does not taste good, it is disgusting and depriving, or do you believe that healthy foods are delicious and indulgent? What do you think about stress? Is it good or bad? Is it serving us or is it harming us? What do you think about exercise? Are you moving enough? Too much? Too little? What do you think about sleep and rest? Is it a superpower or is it a waste of time? What do you believe about failure? Is it a step backward or is it an essential stepping stone to success? What do you believe about happiness as the goal of life? Is it what you want? Or maybe it is having a full human experience with a whole spectrum of emotions? So how are beliefs created? Many of our beliefs come from what we were taught by our parents, and that's not just what they told us, but also what they did and how they showed up in the world and what we witnessed. Our upbringing, culture, society, religion, school, media, environment, friends, and conscious choice. Some of the unconscious beliefs that we learned have been giving us great results in our lives. My mom told me I could do anything I wanted, and I believed her. We always had a lot of books at home, and she told me that our thoughts are very powerful. She told me that I'm healthy and my body is very intelligent and can heal itself naturally. She told me that I do not have to follow the rules and can have my own opinion. And this is something I'm very grateful for. There are some social beliefs that guide our behavior unconsciously if we do not question them. When to get married, how many children to have, what job is the best one and why, what to spend money on, and that other people are responsible for our feelings. We were taught many of the things without questioning them. Okay, so to sum up, what we currently believe is based on our past. Our beliefs create our results. So if we do not change anything in the way how we think, our past beliefs will create our results. If we want to create a different future, we have to create something that doesn't exist in our past. This means that all our current thoughts are useless when it comes to creating a new future. We need to become unavailable to our current life and beliefs if we want to create something new. We have to create a new belief to create a new result in the future. And this requires awareness and consciousness. It requires us to believe something we have never believed before. Because if we already believed it, we would have created that result already. So question your beliefs. Are they helpful or harmful? Some of them are very obvious immediately, and some of them take some time to discover. The best way to start uncovering what we believe is by looking at how we feel and act. Looking at the results in our life and questioning the beliefs that have created them. The results in our life come from our belief system. They do not come from the outside. Our job, our friends, our house, the money we have. We created all of that in our mind. Whatever we have in life now is a reflection of our beliefs. So what are the rules of believing? We can believe whatever we want to believe. There are no rules about what we can believe, no matter what anyone says. If someone tells us something, if we do not question, we accept it as truth and keep believing it. News, media, social media, friends, parents. I can believe whatever I want to believe, and my beliefs will determine what I create. So what does it mean? We can create whatever we want to create? So wait, all I have to do is create thoughts and then believe those thoughts? This sounds fun. So how do I decide what I want to believe? First, we have to learn how to imagine the future we want. We have to learn how to visualize the possibility of the dream or goal. The house we want, the job we want, the partner. So actually, we will visualize the impossibility. Because we won't believe it is possible for us yet. The key is allowing yourself to imagine it. Visualizing yourself thinking, feeling, and doing it, or having it. However, there is one thing. Old beliefs resist new visions. We cannot believe two opposing things at the same time without getting very uncomfortable. So most of us stay with our old beliefs because we already believe them and they are very comfortable. The brain always chooses the path of least resistance and what is comfortable and familiar. Our past just keeps repeating if we are not changing our beliefs on purpose. So how do we believe something we do not believe yet? A belief is just a thought we keep on thinking. A belief is a thought that is so familiar we do not even question it. We accept it. So when we want to believe something new, we have to decide to learn it by practicing it and thinking it over and over. We have to practice thinking a thought over and over while accepting it as true until eventually we believe it. It's like brainwashing ourselves. To sum up, first, decide what you want to believe by visualizing it. Second, create the sentence, a thought that would lead to that result. Third, accept it as true. Fourth, practice and repeat. And be comfortable being uncomfortable. We must become unavailable to our current life, the way we think and what we believe right now to create something new. Sometimes we will want to believe something new, but it will be out of our vision because we have believed that opposite for so long. For example, I just can't meditate. So it is quite difficult to jump to the opposite, which would be I meditate every day for 20 minutes. It is often useful to bridge those two beliefs with a sequence of thoughts, practicing believing each thought step by step until we get to the final belief. So keep moving through the thoughts until you start believing the new visualized reality. Here's an example. I can't meditate because I just can't sit still. Next step would be, there are times when I can sit still during the day. Next thought, it is possible that one day I will meditate. Next thought, I will start meditating. Next thought, I meditate once a week for a minute. Next thought, I meditate twice a week for 5 minutes. Next thought, I meditate every day for 5 minutes. Final thought, I meditate every day for 20 minutes. It might take some weeks or months to get there. It is a practice. Our brain will always go to what it has already believed. Our brain wants to keep on believing what it's kept on believing, even when there is evidence for the contrary. Our brains are programmed for survival. We need to pay very close attention to the things that have kept us alive, and we need to keep rethinking those and questioning them. Our brain will always choose a belief that will keep us safe and comfortable. It will always go to what it has already believed, even when there is evidence to the contrary. Cognitive dissonance is when we have two conflicting thoughts in our brain at the same time. When we are working on changing our beliefs, at some point we might have two conflicting thoughts, our old belief and the new belief we are working on. At this point, we will have the choice between giving up one of the beliefs or keep practicing the new belief. So keep choosing on purpose the new belief. So sometimes, no, actually not sometimes, very often I like to talk to my brain. So every time I am working on believing something new and I notice old beliefs will come up, this is where I talk to my brain and I tell my brain, listen, thanks for suggestion, but this is my old belief and this is what I am believing now or what I'm practicing to believe. So sometimes you just need to redirect your brain. Our brains are quite nice. They want to keep us safe. They want to keep us comfortable. So sometimes you need to tell your brain, thanks, I am safe and I want to be uncomfortable because this will serve me long term. So do not do that to yourself and do not be that person that gives up believing that new thing because it just feels more comfortable. It is obviously much easier to believe what we have believed our whole life. But this is the question. If you really want to create something new and something different, it will be always uncomfortable. And that's okay. This means we are doing it right. So catch yourself whenever you notice that old belief. Become aware that you are thinking it. And deliberately pick the new one. We need to redirect our brain as it always chooses the path of least resistance and keeps thinking what it's used to think over and over and what is familiar. So we need sometimes to redirect it to our new belief on purpose. When coming up with new thoughts, it is very important to use language that generates the emotions you want to have. Thinking and repetition is the first step. But if there is no feeling behind it, it will not work. That feeling will create our actions so we can show up as the best version we want to be, rehearsing that future self. So play around with language and words that create the emotion you want to have. Practicing your thoughts is kind of like practicing for a part in a play. It might feel awkward and uncomfortable because you will be stepping into a new way of thinking and feeling, and therefore acting. It is simply a new way of being. So think about that version of yourself you want to become. As that person, how do you think, feel, and act? So every morning I go through my day and I visualize myself. What do I think? What do I feel? How do I show up? And what results do I create by the end of the day? Top athletes are trained to visualize their goals before a competition. We cannot achieve what we cannot imagine and visualize. And it is not just visualizing the action, it is visualizing the thinking and the believing. And then imagine the feeling and the action. Our thought directs our brain. It tells our brain what to look for and what to focus on. It seeks evidence to support the belief. Energy flows where focus goes. For example, if I believe that the world is beautiful, my brain will scan the world for examples of beauty. If you believe that the world is dangerous, your brain will scan the world for danger. If you believe that life is hard, you will look for evidence to make it true. If you believe that you are incapable, your brain will scan for evidence that it's true, and it will find it. This is why it is so important to choose what you want to believe on purpose, and then start scanning for evidence. So choose your belief, practice, thinking, believing, feeling, and acting. Take massive action to prove your belief true. When you start believing something and you take action in support of being the person who believes it, that action starts to build up. So think, feel, and act as much as possible as this version of yourself you want to become, to create evidence for that new belief. And sometimes the brain is quite slow in accepting the new belief and the new version of yourself because you believed the old belief for so long. So the brain can't catch up with a new result. For example, if you change your diet, you started exercising, and you look differently, it is change of your identity. So your brain is like, wait, but you used to be the person who overeats and does not exercise. This feels weird. People are looking at you and asking questions. It's uncomfortable. Just go back to your old belief. The brain will always bring back those old beliefs until the new ones will become part of your new identity. The brain will always bring back those old beliefs just because old beliefs and old identity feels familiar and comfortable. So this is your practice. Catch yourself and redirect your brain. The brain doesn't like change. Think about the motivational triad. Brain wants to avoid pain, move towards pleasure, exert limited energy, and move away from the unknown and uncertainty. When we change a belief, it goes against comfort. As we think differently, our brain will resist it. This means we are doing it right. It will feel like a lot of effort to take massive action toward new beliefs. Our brains will want to stick with old thoughts and old evidence. It is just a survival pattern. This requires us to move towards discomfort on purpose in order to evolve into the next best version of ourselves. Now that we know the power of the thoughts and we know that we can think whatever we want about everything that happens in our life, the question is, do I really want to think positive thoughts about everything that happens? It would definitely make us feel better, and it is possible. But sometimes bad things happen in life, war, death, and we actually do not want to think positively about them. It is the awareness that the thought about a circumstance creates our feeling. And if the feeling is negative, it means that this thought creates our suffering, and we feel a negative emotion. So the goal is not to try feeling better and thinking positive about something horrible happening just so we can feel better. We still want to be human with preferences, likes, dislikes, but just realizing that the only thing making it negative is our thought about it. Circumstances, whatever happens to us, are always neutral. Understanding intellectually is always great, but the practice of paying attention to our thoughts and feelings and their connection is that experience that makes a difference. We get to believe anything we want, and there are no rules as to what we can believe or what we can decide not to believe. That's crazy. Even if we have believed something our whole life, we can change our mind now about it and about ourselves. And we do not even have to ask anybody. What do you believe that you do not even know is a belief? What are other beliefs that you haven't even questioned? What have you just accepted as being true in your life about you? If you could believe anything you want about yourself, what would you believe? We can believe anything we want. There is no restriction to what we are allowed to believe. No one can tell us what we can or cannot think. This is freedom. So to sum up, how do we change our beliefs? The first step, as always, is awareness. Your beliefs are not a reflection of reality as it objectively is. They are filtered through our interpretations. The first step is to realize that we have them. Second step is to question them and think about how they affect our life. Do you like what results they create? I have this belief. How does it make me feel? How do I act from that feeling? What results do I create in my life with that belief? Is it helpful or harmful? It's not about right or wrong, but is it helpful or harmful for me? And then you can start adopting more useful beliefs. As human beings, we are the only species that are able to watch our thoughts and our thoughts about those thoughts, which means we are the only species that are capable of choosing our thoughts on purpose. Do not believe everything you think. Realizing that I am not my thoughts and being the watcher, becoming aware from the outside, detaching ourselves from our thoughts, letting go of the judgment, creates the space of equanimity that gives us the power of choice. What is it I want to believe? What is true for me? All circumstances are always neutral. We decide what we want to think about them. This is freedom. We can decide what we want to think about everything that happens in our life. Everything that happened in the past and what will happen in the future. I can decide to believe ahead of time that my future is amazing, and I can direct my brain to find evidence for that. I mean, it's crazy and fun. What else? Thank you for being curious. If you enjoyed listening, rate, review, subscribe, share, and join the conversation. Do not miss out on yourself.